Studio 12 continues from the south end zone of Kyle Field. Will Johnson and Matt Simon with you. If you tuned in Wednesday, we teased this a little bit. Throughout the football season, we'll have a recurring guest. You can call him an analyst. You can call him an in-depth insider, whatever you want to call him. But quite frankly, he's a quarterback on this Aggie football team. And
you say recurring? He hasn't gone through it yet.
He hadn't signed a contract.
He might get busy and say, guys, I don't have time for that.
Of course, we can't talk contracts with college athletes, so we can't. And I'm already looking at him. Don't worry about a contract. There is no contract. But Connor McQueen, Aggie quarterback, he will join us throughout the football season. It will be weekly once we get to the UCLA game. We'll try to have you on as much as possible in August, but I know camp is something that you'll be quite busy with. Connor, let me just start off with this. You're just a weekend away from getting August camp started. For the player, what does that mean? Excitement or dread from what you're about to go through?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, especially for me, it's going to be my last fall camp, so it's really what that first day of camp means is that the fun starts. I mean, we've been grinding throughout the summer. I mean, we've gone through a lot of the grueling stuff. So, now we get to, actually play football, which is why we're here. We've waited a long time for this. And so, I mean, around week 2 or week 3, that's when the grueling part starts to set in, when guys are all sleeping in the locker room. But, I think really everyone's very excited to get everything kicked off.
Well, let me throw this at him, though, real quick. Starting this segment with Matt and I, excitement or dread for what you have to do throughout the season?
I walked in here today pretty excited, but we'll see how it goes.
He's feeling it out.
It's week 0 is what this is.
I've got a collared shirt on today, so
we'll see how you look in week 3 of August camp.
We'll see if I
when you
shave
roll
or,
back in.
Yeah, well, Will, you know he's going to be excited because you could close your eyes, and when the team breaks out of the indoor and hits that field on Monday afternoon, you're going to know exactly where Connor is because he's going to come out. Yelling, screaming, getting his guys fired up. The fun and excitement to be back with your brothers, your team. You see them a lot in the summer. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that the players initiate in the summer. But to get back out on that field, now everything is pointing really hard now to a goal, September the 3rd, 2:30 p.m. How exciting is that?
I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. And, I mean, we build relationships throughout the offseason and everything, but there's just nothing else that compares to, being on the field with those guys, first day of practice, all lining up right before Coach Jackson blows the whistle to kick off camp. So, I'm excited. I'm going to be running around screaming, yelling, hollering, and, some people may like it, some people may not, but, I don't really care. I'm having the time of my life out there. So.
With the summer, just kind of very briefly summarize, I think fans they kind of know y'all do some stuff in the summer, but some may think, fall or spring ball's over and they've got a break until fall camp. But you guys go. I mean, there's not a whole lot of breaks in there. Talk about some of the things maybe workout-wise or individual stuff that you all do to really kind of hone your craft. When it's up to you. I mean, there's no one watching over you telling you this.
Right, yeah, and I know that's one thing that really surprises a lot of people. That, I mean, I'll talk to some of my classmates, and they say this is their first time doing summer school, and I'm like, well, this is my 5th year of summer school. This is a normal thing for us. But, I mean, we'll have two different workout times in the mornings at 5:45 and at 7:30, and then the big guys will work out in the afternoon. So that's usually about an hour and a half. Then you'll have class. Usually there's a couple hours in between during lunchtime or whatever that we'll have off. Then after the big guys finish their workout, we'll either have they put in that rule last year where you can start having meetings with the coaching staff. So we'll meet with some of the coaches for about 30 minutes on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So that'll be our meeting time for about 30 minutes, and then we'll go out and we'll do player-led 7-on-7. So that's usually and we try to emulate it just like we practice, up tempo, up pace, and that's really where guys that have been here for a while, guys like me, I mean Trevor, or just older established guys. That's where the coaches look to us to kind of organize all that. Some of the, Armani, Christian Kirk, all those guys that we're really kind of pushing that thing and running that ourselves, and that usually goes for about an hour and a half.
In life with Larry Jackson, he earned that nickname Black Death, and not long after his arrival here. But Is it almost a misnomer? Because it's not as if while you're lifting, he's not screaming in your face the entire time. Describe the summers with Larry.
No, I mean he's honestly very laid back in terms of that. I mean, I know there's quite a few strength coaches around the country that are big yellers and big screamers, guys that'll get in your face. But that's not really his style. He knows that. I mean, with the competition, that's kind of the atmosphere that he likes, kind of fostering, is that we drive each other through competition, and whether it's the how many watts you're moving the weight, the power and things like that with all the readings and the charts that we have in the weight room, or whether we're racing, anything like that. There's always a little bit of competition in there to where we usually kind of get it going ourselves rather than him having to be the guy that's yelling and screaming the whole time. And if that's where I think we're at in a good spot this year, is that we've really been a lot more player led, to where if there's something that we don't like, or if there's something that we can tell he doesn't like, we're fixing it as a team rather than him getting mad and adding on 5-6 extra sprints and things like that.
And what you did with him leads you to Monday.
Correct.
The start of August camp.
That was one of the things that I heard my first summer that really kind of opened my eyes, whenever he was walking around during summer workouts saying, we're doing these workouts not to prepare you for the season. We're getting you in shape for fall camp. And I was like, wow, this is going to be fun then. Thank God I play quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. I mean, I honestly thoroughly enjoy camp. I think a lot more than other people, just because, at the quarterback position, we're not doing near as much as a lot of guys in the trenches, So that's a lot of the guys just kind of give me the side eye and just shake their head whenever they see us run around at practice, and we're telling everybody to get fired up, and like, you're not even sweating, man.
That's where the where you drop in. Some may like you, some may not.
Right.
On the whole fall.
Exactly.
But quarterback is as good a spot to start with you when we discuss what's about to happen in August, because you're in that room.
Right.
You've built a relationship with Trevor Knight and Jake Ubenak, and building one with Noel Mazzoni, the quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator here. Let me start by asking you this. Not about Trevor, who was named the starter. Let me ask you about Jake. There's two parts to that decision they made after spring ball. And Jake was, I guess, in his mind, on the wrong end of it.
Right.
He would have liked a better outcome. Tell me how Jake's handled it through the summer, and just his demeanor as he rolls into August camp, even though he didn't necessarily, quote, win the job in spring.
I mean, and I will say, I don't think there's anybody in the country that could handle the situation better than Jake did. He definitely handled it. He's been handling it, so much better than I can even imagine myself in that situation, and that he's the ultimate teammate. And that he's not a big rah-rah guy, but he's one of the leaders on this football team. And, it goes back to what kind of got out whenever they named Trevor the starter, and he looked to Jake right away and said, be ready, because, things can change very, very quickly. And that, Jake's a true professional, and that, he's been all facets of college football. He walked on at Oklahoma State. He played at a junior college, and then, he's now here on scholarship, and, he's been doing great things for us. And that's one of the things that Jake's taught me, is that, you always try to emulate. You want to, I guess, approach every game the same, and, approach it as if you were going to be the starter. And that I think that's one of the things that I really learned from Jake last year, and, off and on rooming with him and stuff on the road, is that he didn't change his demeanor and his approach, whether it was week 1 against Arizona State last year, whether it was the last game of the year, or whether it was the bowl game when he was the starter. To where I think he always prepares like a true professional, and that he handles himself and conducts himself like a professional, and that I think he's been a tremendous addition to our quarterback room.
Kind of guy, it's easy to get on his side.
Jake without a doubt.
But I think maybe also that's why Trevor essentially won the job.
Right.
He's a guy that's easy to follow for the rest of this team. Did you see that play into it?
Oh, without a doubt. And I think Trevor's a natural-born leader in that. he's probably the most outstanding leader I've ever been around, and I've only known him for, I guess, going on 8 months now. And he's done worlds of difference for this team, and that I'm very excited to see where it'll take us, because obviously it's going to take a couple months to for guys to kind of, I guess, ease into it, or just get used to him being the guy. And that I think now we're at a point where it's just full speed ahead, and he's got the reins in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Connor McQueen with us here on Studio 12. It's one of those intangibles you can't really coach, you can't really teach, can you? I mean, it's an intangible that could win you a game or two
Right.
as you head down the season.
Without a doubt, I mean, because especially in the SEC, you're going to have tough games throughout the year, and whenever things get tough, guys are always looking around, and there has to be that one player that's going to step up. And I think Trevor is the kind of leader to where he will never not be that guy, which is pretty awesome to see that kind of take place for this football team, and that he's not even going to relinquish the opportunity to be that guy, to where if there's an opportunity for him to step up and lead, he's going to do it, which is very uncommon. Especially, I mean, he's an older guy, so he's been around a lot, and he's seen a lot of ball. Yeah. So, he really knows how to work it and how to play the game.
And then even cycling back with that to the summer and the individual workouts with Trevor, with Jake, and even some of the leadership skills you've picked up over your time here, and then watching those guys, that's another place where that has to pay off big time, isn't it?
Without a doubt. And that's actually it's worked out well, I guess, in that Trevor and I have had different class schedules to where him and I haven't been working out in the same lifting group all summer, so we've been in different groups. So we've really gotten to kind of make sure that we kind of take ownership of our groups and make sure that each one's working hard to where, once or twice a week, Trevor and I, we've gotten together and, we'll talk about how's the 545 group going. I mean, are those guys pushing themselves? Trevor will come in sometimes and he'll be upset and tell me, man, I don't think we got better today. And, you need to push those guys to make sure you pick up our slack from what we left off this morning and things like that, to where, it's a different atmosphere than something we've been around in the last couple of years.
Before we go to break real quick, I mentioned Noel Mazzoni's in town, first year. When we see him about and do interviews with him, he rarely answers a question seriously. You see him in the film room, maybe. I don't know if it's more serious with Noel there, but for those that don't get to lay eyes on this guy, is he as funny inside the Bright Complex as he is out of it?
Without a doubt. I'd probably even venture to say he's quite a bit funnier inside, just because there's really no filter, and he's awesome, and he's extremely knowledgeable. He's been coaching for I'm not going to even make a guess how long. I don't want to get myself in trouble or anything, but I've learned quite a bit in the time that he's been here. He's very serious at times and really wants to get his point across, but at other times it's all fun and games.
Yeah. All right, so Connor, you're one segment in. Are you going to stick with us for the season, or have you already had enough?
If you'll have me, I think I'll stay.
Now we got it on tape.
The only question was, will you have us?
I guess that's our contract there. Then.
Yeah. Well, you get to say thank you for your time. And all
the key's going to be when he tries to sucker some of his teammates to coming in here.
That'll be a tough sell. I'm
going to have to persuade him.
You may trick them once.
Right.
We have a hard time getting the same guest back
I just
got
to make sure that the guys aren't listening to it. So whenever I start making fun of them all, they're not going to be scared.
Yeah, is that show you made fun of me? No, I ain't showing up for that. Forget that.
No, I got something better to do.
Connor McQueen, Will Johnson, Matt Simon with you on this Friday edition of Studio 12 from the South End Zone of Kyle Field. We were talking quarterbacks a moment ago. Like we said, you're in that room. You can't forget about your other role with this team, special teams-wise, and I think it's very critical this year. Where we see you most in that aspect is our holder on place kicks, and now you come to 2016, and Taylor Bertolette's gone. There will be a new place kicker for the Aggies. Your thoughts on Braden Mann and Daniel LaCamera, who are essentially the two guys competing for that spot, because you see them, I'd say face-to-face, but it's like face-to-foot when you hold these kicks.
Well, I hope their foot's not too close to my face.
Yeah.
But, it's been a good summer, and that's one of the things that we've done over the last couple of years that's really given us momentum going into the season, and that, 2 or 3 times a week we'll go out there and, the punters will kick before and, the kickers will warm up, and I'll get some work holding with the deep snappers. Coach Banks has brought in some new drills and everything that just, gets me a whole lot more touches just to kind of, stay fresh and, work the craft. But, it's good to get out there with those guys and, work on our timing and everything, really work on the little things like the snappers. I actually didn't know this until I got to college that the snappers don't use the laces because when they snap it, they want ideally because we sit at 8 yards. Some people sit at 7. We sit at 8 yards. Whenever you catch the snap, I ought to be catching the snap with my right hand on the laces, almost like I could catch it and throw it, because I can catch it and then put it right down to where laces are out, because that's such a key part of being. I mean, I guess of holding is you always want the laces out, of course, and so.
Ace Ventura talking.
Right,
could
exactly.
teach you that, yeah.
You know, that's common
Everyone
knowledge.
knows that.
Right. But you know, that's something that, you know, I never really realized until I got around some of these really, really good deep snappers, to where they're so consistent to where they snap it every time, and they know that if it's off, they'll just rotate the ball in their hands a couple inches to where, you know, I'll tell them it's a quarter turn or something, and they'll fix it. And Austin Fry and Christian Robertson, they'll snap it to me right there, and I can catch it with the laces, so where it's I mean, it's so consistent to where, I mean, that's kind of the little things that we like working on during the summer, you know, or, you know, getting the ball down to an exact spot, things like that, to where once the season comes, you know, we got out there with the coaching staff, and, you know, we're doing live field goal period on the second or third day of practice, and, you know, Coach Sumlin doesn't have to yell because we're rusty or anything. So, you know, that's the thing. We want to make sure we're going into camp with some momentum.
So you over there on the sideline going, come on, during a game, come on, Coach. Let's run that fake field goal. Let's run. Come on. I got this, Coach. Come on, I got this. That one of your dreams to actually pull that one out of the hat a little bit?
That would be pretty cool. You know, I mean, I can't. I mean, you can't say that you don't want to do that. You don't want to score touchdowns. You know, I mean, it'd be a lot of fun. But, you know, just we actually don't get rushed very often because Coach Banks is, I guess, he's kind of renowned. Just, I mean, because he does come up with some pretty crafty things in his past, especially whenever he was at UTEP. I know, and to where I mean. We actually we haven't gotten too much pressure since I've knock on wood there. Yes, I mean, since I've had that spot.
Yeah. Do we still have the skinny uprights, the Arena League ones on one end of the practice
That's what we
fields?
kick on during the summer, especially.
Yeah.
Which is you know, it was pretty wild whenever we first got them put in, but you know, it honestly makes a world of a difference whenever we go back over to the real goalpost, because, you know, it's just, you know.
Yeah, everything's a chip shot.
Exactly. It makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's if anyone's driving around town, when you come up Welborn and you can see the goalposts that are up against the actual indoor facility, you'll see what we're talking about. And it's funny when we're out of practice and we watch the reaction. If a kicker misses just barely, the reaction you don't see is, oh, well, that would have been good on a real goalpost. They're mad because they missed. And so I love seeing that. You know what? Look at the results last year. It sure paid off.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, I mean, Josh Lambeau finished his career here at A&M very, very well, and Bertolette had a great last year as well. So, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing both of those guys playing their part for their respective teams. You know, they both started camp, and Taylor's fighting for that job right now for the Rams. So, you know, it's pretty cool. That's 2 kickers in a row going to the NFL.
Yeah,
yeah. And Lambeau, you mentioned, is with the Chargers now. So, when we look at this season, and I wanted to ask you this, we'll have you back on, and you think about, and I don't know if we've mentioned it yet on this show, a lot of times you'll bring a guest, you'll bring a teammate with you, and the 4 of us will chat. Who are maybe some of the characters on this team? You've been here for a while, you've seen them in the locker room, that setting where you guys get behind closed doors. Are there maybe some guys that are a tad more of a character than others? And maybe they're good candidates to come with you.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of the guys that everyone looks at as quiet that are really that are hilarious in the locker room. I mean, you got like Donovan Wilson, Armani Watts. Those guys, I mean, they seem very like pretty quiet guys, but those guys don't stop talking in the locker room. And, you know, Boone Niederhofer. I mean, whenever because I've lived with Boone for 4 years, and we just actually moved out of our house, but. He, you know, when I first moved in with him, we couldn't get him to talk, and now, you know, we can't get him to stop. You know, it's awesome, you know, getting to be kind of developing those relationships with the guys that, you know, get them to really see come out of their shell.
You know, on that note, I got to ask you about this game y'all play. Practices, but even before games in the stadium, crossbar. For fans that, if you get to the stadium early enough, it's I guess when you first go out there to warm up, you'll see the quarterbacks tossing footballs at the crossbar of the goalpost trying to hit it, and then you start moving back on there. So I got to ask, who's the best of the group and who needs a whole lot of work?
I'll say, I mean, it's one of my favorite drills. We've been doing it since Coach Kingsbury was here. You know, they do it all around the country. It originated actually from just working on throwing, like you'd throw to a tight end or, a big tall receiver over across the middle in the goal line, because a lot of times that's kind of a vulnerable area right across the middle. So, just kind of throwing it up almost to the crossbar and let the big guys go up and get it. So, you kind of play spin-offs of that. We do it all summer. I've actually been crowned the summer champion.
Okay.
Which that's undisputed. You can ask anybody else. I'm not just saying that. I'm not being biased. I've actually just completely dominated this summer.
It's a fact.
Do you tell your other quarterbacks
Oh,
this
without a
often?
doubt. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. They know.
Who needs the most work?
Which is it depends on where we're at in the field. We usually beat up pretty well on the freshman kids, just because we're just better at the game. They're not they're not well versed.
Respect your elders, youngsters.
It works well for me too. I'm not the biggest guy, so we've been throwing from 40 yards all summer. That's where after every 7-on-7 we've been throwing from 40. So that's a 50-yard throw to the goalpost, and I don't have too much more in me than that. So I'm just letting it all rip, and I've found the right I guess distance per se. So I've gotten to where I've hit it on the first try 4 or 5 times this summer, which is a phenomenal feeling, just to hit it and walk in and not even say anything, and have everybody else messing around for 5 more minutes trying to hit it.
Any of the skill players try to jump in?
Without a doubt. Damian Ratley thinks he should be playing quarterback. Zaycoven Henderson thinks
that
you better not think he should be playing
Henderson
quarterback.
always tries to hop in whenever we throw into the buckets or in our big drop nets. Sabian Holmes, he's no longer playing, but when he was here, he swore he was better than everybody else in the quarterback room, which is it's pretty funny, because the guy can throw a good spiral,
Yeah.
They got to be able to play quarterback then.
That's
all there is to it.
Oh
right?
yeah, nothing else.
Since our office is so close, every now and then we've stepped out on Kyle Field to try to play the crossbar game. My problem is when we move back to the 10-yard line, my arm runs out. I'm punting it at the goalpost.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need a 20-yard punt with some aim to hit that thing.
It's funny, like if the fans, if they get here early enough, it's going on while you guys are warming up. You'll just hear, if you turn your head for a minute, you're doing something else on the field, all of a sudden you'll hear this loud roar, and it means someone's like you or somebody standing at the 40-yard line pumping fists, high-fiving, because but the roar comes out of nowhere, but you hear the ping of the crossbar, and then everybody goes nuts.
That's the best one, because usually we'll have one of the equipment guys back there who will be throwing the ball back, and they love that. They love being pelted by about 6 balls at a time, and having to throw back just to know that they're going to get them. We're going to throw them again, but they're usually the referee to where we'll signal if it's we've got our signals. If it's a tip, you can't hit the back side of the crossbar. You can only hit the actual horizontal bar.
Oh.
Can't hit the vertical bar. We've played vertical bar a couple times, but
that's got to be
Yeah, I would need that leeway. I'd need some safety net on that. But since this is first segment with you on this show, a little bit about you, because you've got the Aggie ring by now. I think you mentioned majors, accounting, finance. Is it grad school now for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just your update on you and the family, siblings. Are there siblings, or is it just Connor?
There is Kristen. Kristen, she's going to be a sophomore at A&M.
Okay.
She grew up cheerleading. She works now with doing a competitive cheer camp. She was big in a competitive cheer. She's actually on the A&M cheer team.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Which is, a lot of people don't know that we have, but it's the competitive cheer team. They competed this past, I think, April in Destin, which they did really well at. They did better than they have ever this past year. And so, a lot of people argue and will say cheerleading's not a sport, but I think I definitely will have to say that it is, because she puts in just as much or even more time, or she did whenever she was doing it full time. Just throughout high school, she was putting in just as much or more work each and every day at the cheer gym. And I can't even do a front flip on a trampoline, and she can do about I'm not even going to get into it. Flips and twists at the same time.
You bowed out of that competition long ago.
It's very impressive. So she's definitely an athlete as well. And she actually left today to go. She's going to be a fish camp counselor.
All right.
And so she's a redhead as well. And they always have to do something. I guess out of the ordinary for fish camp, whether it's getting a piercing or dyeing their hair. So she actually dyed the tips of her red hair absolute red. So so there's red on the orange now. I tease her though. She tries to hide from the ginger sometimes with some blonde highlights.
I
was
got you.
Embrace
You got to
the
embrace
ginger.
it. Yeah. With grad school, is it just underway?
I became a graduate student this past spring.
Okay.
So it's the professional program of accounting, to where, I mean, it's honestly very, very awesome. that the Mays Business School does it, to where in 5 years you'll get your undergraduate degree in accounting. There's a built-in semester for an internship, and then you can get your master's in, I think there's 7 different tracks now. Whether it's you can do just for a couple, there's finance, audit, I'm trying to think, entrepreneurship. So, there's quite a few ways that you can go. So I'm doing the finance track. So after I finished my internship this spring, I came back for spring ball, and then started taking graduate classes. Now I'm in all finance classes.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do you, maybe 10 years or so, where would you like to do career-wise? Where do you want to kind of see yourself, or are you still trying to feel that out?
Well, as of now, I'm going to be starting full-time at a public accounting firm in Houston.
Oh, nice.
At KPMG. So, I guess ideally, working towards becoming a partner at that firm, or I guess going out into, since I'll be starting in Houston, there's a lot of options out in the oil and gas industry. It's not very great right now, but just kind of looking, at financial roles and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's no chance this year on Studio 12 would steer you towards a broadcasting career?
I guess that door is always open,
First time on, you're not
right.
feeling it yet.
Right. We'll see where we'll see where it takes us. If the mic treats me well and the cameras like me, maybe.
Well, he's already shown he's a heck of a lot smarter than both of us.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to make a lot more money a lot quicker.
We're always looking to make this show smarter, and with us two sitting here, it's not that hard, though.
No.
You raise the
Oh,
intelligence
don't worry.
level.
Once I get around my buddies, I kind of, it'll be fun.
Plus, I still want to see what he looks like 2 weeks into August camp when he shows up.
It's rough.
He may not have changed, may have a beard, the sweat
last
stains.
year we've talked about it. I don't think I'm going to do it this year, actually, but I did grow a camp mustache, which was thoroughly unimpressive.
Camp
I'm saying,
stash.
you could probably see it in here with the lighting, but just in regular plain day, you couldn't see it. But I was very proud of it. It's very uncomfortable and not very good looking.
Well, you got what? Do both of the quarterbacks have face? Do Trevor and Jake have?
Trevor and Jake both have immaculate facial hair.
So you need to be the different guy without it, or are you going to kind of step up, try to grow into that?
I don't think I have much of a choice in that. I'm going to have to not have it, because
you have to be the clean cut.
I have, because it's just, one, it doesn't come in very well, and two, it's just honestly not that flattering. I've got enough orange on my head as it is, and, or something about orange facial hair. It just doesn't. I don't know.
It's a no-go.
It's a no for me.
Well, Connor, we're off and running. Like I said, we'll get to you as much as we can in August camp. We know you're busy, but you'll be weekly with us once we get to just before kickoff of the UCLA game. But we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for starting this off with us.
I appreciate you having us. I'm looking forward to it.